Hello. All right. I'm I've just been sitting here quite giddy because this is the first time I've done this particular type of live before. And I've just been really excited about it all week. So welcome anyone for just joining. Thank you for coming along. It's a live Q&A session. I'm going to um, hang around and chat for a couple of minutes and just let a couple of people connect in. I know what happens as soon as I hit the live button, the little red thing pops up for a bunch of people. So it usually takes a few minutes for people to actually get on board. So what I would say is if you're just joining us now, feel free to, even if you don't have a question, drop a comment in and say hi. I want to make sure our comments from LinkedIn in particular are working um, automatically. So when you join, please say hi. And if I don't know you, if we've not met, please tell me from where you're tuning in from. And I will endeavour to answer as many questions as I can today. I think I've put in these events today. I've sort of put in 45 minutes to an hour. We'll just see how we go. I have some questions already from our Academy community that I want to that get priority, but I will endeavour to ask if anyone asks any live questions today. I will endeavour to take some time to ask them. Hey Robbie, how you going, bro? Happy Friday to you, mate. And Share is in the room as well, I believe. So good afternoon, Share, as well. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so I hope you're all having a great Friday. I'm going to be, I think I've got 3 questions. I'll talk a little bit about how these sessions will work. I'm hoping, and this is a trial, but I'm hoping I'll be able to do these either every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. I get a lot of questions throughout the week. Some of the times I like to sort of, and we have our Better Big Bootcamp Academy every Tuesday. And what I'm hoping to do is also, sometimes we get really juicy questions in that session, and I really want to be able to repeat them sometimes to the wider world. So some weeks I'll be bringing questions from that. This week I've got 3 questions that people have messaged or DM'd me or they've brought through from the bootcamp. So I'll kick off with those in a sec. And if, like I said, if anyone has questions during this session, just drop them into the comments. I can see that the comments are working, thankfully. So thank you for the StreamYard and LinkedIn gods for making this Friday afternoon technically work for me first time around. All right, so how does this all work? Very, very easy. Drop in a question. I'm gonna, when I do these sessions, you'll see it's always going to be titled the same thing. Drop a question into the comment of the event anytime during the week beforehand, and I will harvest those questions and put them in. If you're part of the Bootcamp Academy, then you can just your questions will get priority. And sometimes when when I'm working with someone, what I'll also do is ask for permission to reshare that same message or that same question so that the wider world can get the answer. Okay. I do record these sessions. This live recording will be available on my LinkedIn for a week, and then it'll be available inside my Marketing Academy forever. I'm going to put them in a special section so you can always go back and rewatch some of these questions if one of them caught your eye. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first question I got, I'm not giving out names too, by the way, for these. So if you're one of the people who has dropped in a question, I'm just going to put you'll see your question and you'll see the first character of your first name down there. So from A, ask me the question this week: should I have a LinkedIn company page? Very, very contentious question to the LinkedIn experts in the room. So I think, as with a lot of questions, there's kind of context to be thrown in. Okay, so what I want to do is talk about, why would you have a LinkedIn company page? So one thing, I think, if you have your own company, if you have your own business, I think you should probably have a company page purely from the perspective of validity. Okay, that helps provide just a little bit of a professional cue to your market that your company has its own company page. That's the first bit. So yes to that answer, to that question, for validity purposes. But the next one is, should you spend any time posting on it? And what's the point if you've got a personal page? And that's probably the more important part of the question. And that is, do we post on our company page and why? So here's a couple of reasons why you would post on your company page as well as your private page. Number one, if you have, like me, a couple of brands. So I have 2 company pages. I have the Shoestring Marketer and I have potent marketing. Now, potent marketing is a very, very specific niche kind of marketing consultancy service where the Shoestring marketer is this sort of stuff, which is academy training and coaching for small businesses. So for me, having the 2 pages helped me differentiate and kind of help my audiences have different places to go to see the same content, rather than it all be kind of confusing on my private page. If you have one primary thing that you're trying to promote in your life, then your personal profile on LinkedIn versus your company page, and I stand to be corrected by anyone who's going to throw data at me, but I mean, all of the data that I've seen over the last 17 years of LinkedIn keeps reinforcing this. You're going to get more reach, more engagement, more cut through, more clients by focusing your limited time on your personal profile rather than putting it onto the company page and resharing it. I don't see a lot of sort of point in spending that time. What I would say is if you really want to succeed on LinkedIn, focus first on your personal profile. If you find a need in your customer journey for a company page to be there, then add it later. But by all means, you can do very, very well without a company page whatsoever. I would have it there just against your job and your title for validity purposes. Cool. So that's first question. Next question. So this was a long chat, but basically this person asked has been running webinars. They've been promoting them on Facebook and promoting them on LinkedIn. They are not getting a lot of people actually turning up on the day of the webinar. And so, you know, how do you get more people to show up to webinars? Here, I'll go through a few aspects. So you might have people who, if no one's interested in your webinar, if you're publishing your webinar and you're not getting any interest, no one's hitting the attend button, then you've either got a topic or a reach problem. So it's that your topic is not that interesting to the audience. And that could be as simple as you learning a bit, or maybe getting some AI or getting a copywriter to help you with the headlines, okay? Getting your topics to really hit on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Instagram is really about knowing your customer persona. And what I'd encourage you to do is, if you're doing webinars, do webinars not about your business, not about your product, not about what your product can do. Do a webinar about solving a specific problem or a specific frustration that they have, okay? That's the first thing, that's getting more people interested in the topic. If you're getting people interested in the topic, right, and they're clicking on the I'm interested button in Facebook, or they're clicking on the attend button in LinkedIn, but then you having a look at your registration and your CRM or your email marketing, and you're getting no email addresses coming through, no people are actually registering on your page, okay, so then you've got a conversion problem there. The first thing that I would encourage you to do, and I encourage anyone who's doing LinkedIn events who want people to actually show up, is when people hit attending on your LinkedIn event, you get a list of people who have done that, okay? I have a tendency to go through all of them one by one. I DM them and just go, hey, just here's a link to the page. Really, really stoked that you're coming to my event. Here's a link to the registration page. Once you register, I'll send you a Zoom link, or I'll send you the link to the webinar. That in itself, that one tactic, I've found either double or triple attendance rates at webinars, or certainly registration rates at webinars, okay? So that's the second part. It's when they're interested, but they're not actually registering by email. The last part, if you have lots of registrants, but no one's actually showing up on the day, there's a couple of things you're possibly not doing super well. One of them is sending reminder emails. So you should be sending reminder emails to your webinars very frequently. Oh, well, not super frequently, but at least 2, okay? So one about a week out from the event, and one the day before, the day of the event. Again, every time you send a reminder email, send the link to join the actual webinar as well. Make sure that happens. Another thing that you can be doing is giving people the option to add it to their calendar. There's a bunch of ways to do that. I'm actually recording a little mini course on how to do that, because I found some cool ways in Zapier to get calendar invites to come through to people automatically without them having to click on the little add to calendar button. And I'm doing that at the moment. If you want to register for any of my workshops, I've got a networking workshop coming up next week, and you want to try this out, I've got an automatic calendar invite happening as part of my automations behind the scenes. Okay, that's question number 2. Before I get on to the next question, I'm going to scroll through some comments that have come through. Shoestring, how much of marketing should be human and how much should be AI and what? We'll get to that one. It's a big question, that one. We'll get that to the end. I'll count Stu and Daniel. Okay, so last of the questions that came through before this session. And this is from someone who I've been doing a little bit of coaching work with, and they got into a bit of a muddle for the sort of 2 weeks. We're doing lots and lots of learning, making lots and lots of plans, lacking in execution. And this person, M, was getting kind of a bit frustrated through or a bit overwhelmed. Okay. And so what they decided to do was start at the bottom of their marketing funnel and work their way up. Okay. So what that meant in their case was that they decided to, I think, work on their sort of sales offer and their lead magnet offers, and then work on their automations and email marketing and things like that. Okay. And so I had a good think about this because, it's a really good question. Is the bottom up approach right or wrong? Okay. Now, if you're just starting out, there's a couple of elements here, but one thing I would say is the bottom of your funnel is where the sales happen. The middle of the funnel is where you sort of convert people from being slightly interested to being fans, and maybe they're getting into your email list and things like that. If you spend all of your time working on constructing the bottom of the funnel and the middle of the funnel, and you're not working on the top of your funnel, which is the awareness, which is posting, it might be running ads, it might be doing SEO. If you're not building that top of your funnel, the problem you're going to have is you're not going to have any traffic coming through the middle of the funnel to test the bottom. So you're actually pushing off your outcomes. So what I would say is to run both in parallel. Do a little bit of top of funnel stuff. Always be building audience in LinkedIn. That's as simple as just connecting to new people and following people and doing good engagement and comments, and then posting occasionally. So always be doing that whilst working on, and if it was me, I would work downwards on your funnel. I'd actually work on how do I get people who are engaging with my content at the top of my funnel. How do I get them to give me their email address so that I can have a bit more of a direct conversation that doesn't have an algorithm between me and them? Okay, and that is in that lead magnet game. So what sort of lead magnets work for a lot of you with services and B2B, events, workshops, webinars, stuff like this, live streams, but also guides, checklists, surveys, those sorts of things. So I'd be working most of your effort in building audience at the top, and then focusing just on getting that lead magnet stuff flowing. Once you've got people flowing into that, then you can focus on the bottom of the funnel, which is on how to get people to move into your sales offer. Okay. The last part, a couple little points here, is I think marketing's never finished. So you shouldn't always be, please don't treat marketing as one big project and one big funnel project, which is a common misconception. Good marketers are always adjusting all different parts of their funnel on a cyclical basis. Okay, even when it's working, we're often tuning it. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing is that when this question came through from M, I kind of felt like maybe this whole, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from the funnel and I'm going to get all of my ducks in a row. And I hear this so often with people who are in overwhelm mode. Okay. Sometimes what that is, though, is actually a little bit of subconscious procrastination. I don't really want to show up on social. I don't really want to do a webinar. I don't really want to start DMing people. A little bit embarrassed about it or whatever. Got some stuff that's getting in the way psychologically. And I'm not saying that this is the case here, but I'd like to flag it. It's a common situation that I'll be getting on a coaching call with a client who's saying, I just want to get this done, or I just want to get my website redone, or it's got some SEO stuff. And I'm like, well, but you've got all of these people who are super interested in your product or in your brand. Why don't you just DM 5 of them? Why don't you just email 5 of them? And often me asking them to do that thing is all that they need to actually just kind of get off their butts and go off and make some sales. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the fact that a lot of the time when we hit the reset button and we start rebuilding our things, it's because we just kind of don't want to be doing something. We don't want to be making another video. We don't want to be showing up to another webinar. We don't want to be selling. I get it, right? Very, very common stuff. And those, sometimes it is good to have a little bit of a reset, but don't let it stop all of your activities is the lesson. Okay. So I want to talk to you all about my academy briefly, but before that, I want to talk about one of these other questions. So how much, so Shweta has, I hope I pronounced that right, has asked, these days shoestring means AI. Okay, so how much marketing should be human and how much AI and what? Like, so that's a lot of questions there. So what I'll say is, with this particular question, I don't think there's a recipe for how much AI versus how much humans, because it's similar to the question of how many staff should I have or what should my staff be doing. For me, rather than asking how much of each resource should I be using or how much money should I be using, I have a tendency to lay things out very simply. First thing is, if your business doesn't have a very target customer persona or avatar, then none of the other stuff really matters. You need to be nailing that down really, really tightly. Okay. The second thing you need to be doing is building a customer journey map. Okay. So from that avatar, when you've really listed down all of this person's emotional triggers or their fears, their frustrations, their desires, their context, all of the things that you can use to connect to them, you can then do a customer journey map, which is really going to map out which channels are they going to discover me on. What am I going to be doing to get them to go from those channels, those discovery channels, into a direct engagement channel, which is most often either one-on-one meetings, text messages, or of course email marketing or an email automation. Okay, so how am I going to do that? That's all part of your customer journey. And then inside your customer journey, there's the offer analysis. What am I going to be offering them to move them along there? Now, once you've got that journey mapped out, that's when you start applying resources such as people, right? And your time and your money and your advertising and the tools such as websites and email marketing platforms. And of course, AI. You know, I think if you don't have the fundamentals and you just think you're going to do all of this stuff with AI, what you're probably going to do is spend a lot of time learning how to write prompts, writing a whole lot of prompts, getting prompts and agentic to do all this sort of stuff, and you're going to give you very mediocre response from your marketing. Okay, so I hope that answers that question. Again, AI is just it's a very, very, very powerful tool. The how much thing, you know, the other part of this response is, what do you like doing? Some people love doing the graphic and creative part of their marketing. Some people hate it. Some people love writing. Right? If you love writing, why would you get AI to write for you? Right? Keep doing the writing. Some people just love talking on camera. Some people love going out to networking meetings. Stuart loves organizing these networking meetings, and he loves company pages too. Like the looks of things in the comments. I think our use of AI should be dictated not around what someone like I say, but what do you hate? If you take the whole journey of your of your target customer and your marketing strategy, what are the bits that you never get around to doing, right? What are the bits that you find a chore and you groan, right? Maybe it's writing your email newsletter. Maybe it's doing blogs. Maybe it's creating a lead magnet. Maybe it's finalizing that about us page on your website, right? My first bit of advice is find the gaps of areas in your customer journey, not in marketing in general, because you don't need all of the things in marketing. You just need your journey filled in, okay? And so if you've got any queries about what that customer journey is, feel free to reach out to me. I do a lot of training. Obviously, we've got our academy folks who I train every Tuesday in B2B marketing. And so my email address is down here. You can reach out to me anytime. I'm going to jump on for a second, and I'm just going to show you, because I'm a bit excited about this. So feel free to drop in any more questions. And while I do, I'm just going to show you this academy here. So we've been running for the last 14 weeks a B2B bootcamp. okay, where I've got about 18 people who turn up to this bootcamp program here. Okay, and you'll see it, these are all of the classes that we've done so far. And these are all the recorded sessions. So every week I do this, I do training with people on Tuesday mornings. You can see that in the calendar here. So they'll turn up to these live bootcamp sessions. And then once we've done the sessions, they get recorded, they get dropped into the bootcamp course. Now, those people are all part inside this academy community here, okay? And so they've all got access to all of these other training programs as well. And I'm adding a new one of these training courses, video training courses, every single week. The other part of the academy is anyone can dive in and ask questions, or just say hi, or share some wins, or other sorts of things that you do in private communities. But the beauty of this is it's not Facebook, so it's not full of ads. Your comments never get missed because it's in a private community. It's a safe space, so we don't let in weirdos. We just let in good people who are in the same space as you are, small business people trying to do DIY some of your marketing. And we have a lot of fun. So if you're interested in jumping in and having a trial of this, happy to give people a month for free. Just email me, okay? So where do I do that banner? He goes into here and he shows this banner. You can see my email address down the bottom. If you want to just ask about the academy, just flick me an email. I'll give you a month free membership, and you can have a look. And the cost is $9 a month US. So it's less than Netflix, I think, to dive in. So that is the academy. Have we got any more questions from the audience? I'm looking. I don't think we have. Thank you, Daniel. That's a nice comment. And thank you all for spending some time on your Friday afternoon with me, or Thursday if you're in the States or Europe. Stuart Little, who is in the audience here, I would like to highlight the fact that Stuart's here. He is an incredible community builder and runs the LinkedIn Local in Auckland. So if you're an Aucklander, dive onto Stuart's page into his LinkedIn profile. I'm just going to highlight his profile here. This is the guy, and then follow him. And his partner and he, Kerry, run these awesome events, which are LinkedIn Local in Auckland. They're in-person events. It's a great place to network. They're really fun. They've got some incredible speakers, right? And so definitely get along to those. I'm a big fan. I think I missed the last one, hoping to go to the next one. But to be honest, I haven't checked when it is. Yeah, one of the most wonderful places to network. All right. So I don't think we have any more questions, which is great. Like, what do they say? A fast game's a good game. So thank you all for showing up. I'm gonna rock off, and we will do this again in a couple of weeks. I really enjoyed seeing you all, and thanks for coming. And so again, if you need anything from me, you've got my email address down there, or you can just DM me on LinkedIn. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Ka kite, have a great Friday. Bye-bye.